prepared. Be prepared for where it becomes.
Hey everyone, my name is Robert. This is Kurt, and this is On Location Podcast. This is our third episode, and feels good, man, to continue this process, to continue being creators. And yeah, it's a lot going on in the world right now, but I really want to get into what are we doing right now as creators and what we're doing as people who are as entrepreneurs in our personal lives. With that being said, Kurt, let's go with you, man. A lot of changes have been going on with you lately.
Shoot, let's talk about the main one, but I got to move up. Yeah, we're sliding in the fin now. We went from the car accident with the Mustang, which was not my fault, but issue with that. Got paid out. Thank God, thank the Lord. So we pray for that. And then we took that money and we went ahead and we're still gonna fix the Mustang, but I'm gonna fix the Mustang. I'm also gonna go out. Went ahead and got the Infinity, which is how we got here. You know, what do you think about the Infinity?
Your Infinity, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because I got an Infinity too, but he just got a pretty decent one, and we took a ride here, and I think I like it, man. It has a lot of power. It definitely has power.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
It has a clean look, so it's better for what I'm doing myself. It's my sales. You know, I can pull up the Infinity instead of the Mustang. A cleaner look. You know, walking from the car, walking to the car. You know, because people genuinely look at you on your appearance, how you dress, how you talk, how you walk, your car, your keys, your phone. All these micro gestures or details about you tells you a lot about a person. So I'm glad for that. Work picked up with the draping company, so we had a great week.
What do you mean by draping company? Is that like what is that?
So I'm with a draping company called Just Like Designs, and we do weddings, we do bar mitzvahs, we do. Matter of fact, if y'all saw Trump's speech, we set that up. And Doral downtown.
Oh, hold up. So
yeah,
you did the Doral speech?
Yeah, from
for wow. Okay.
Yeah, from I think it was like
You mean for all Latin world leaders?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
We set that up.
Nah, you keeping that to yourself? That was a gem. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, we set that up. We was part of Quest Teams. Quest is a draping company that set it up. We was we was helping out the team. Big event from almost 2,000 feet. Rep drape here, rep here, 3 different rooms, and I think it was like the shield. They had the shield set up with the drapes on the side. We did all the drapes of that. For the most part, that's about it. Yeah, what about you?
Been doing some crazy events lately. So this past month in February, I went on a mission to do a paint and sip event. Long story short, I created a business called Creative Vines with another partner, right? And unfortunately, it didn't work out. We were just on 2 different creative platforms, vision. And I think that was a great decision. It wasn't an easy decision to make, but after some real, just thinking about the process, because I knew the vision of where I wanted to go, but it just didn't work out with this partner, and that's perfectly fine. Things happen. And it was good that it happened early, because I didn't want to have that issue years down the road, and then it's going to be even worse. So I think it's a lot of growth to understand that what's right for you and what's not. And that took a lot of experience, obviously, in the past, and understand, do not let things linger. If you know it's not for you, cut it off, even if it hurts. So with that being said, so my first venture as a solo entrepreneur, no longer with a partner, I did a paint and sip for Valentine's Day, for Valentine's Day bash. He showed up, he showed support. It was pretty cool, and man, I was just really grinding and really wanted to make this happen. There were so many hurdles. It was short notice. I got the venue just 2.5 weeks, maybe less than that, before Valentine's Day. I invested quite a bit into the marketing, and I didn't know if it was going to come out right. I just have faith. I just put in the process. I just felt like, you know what, it's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and it worked out. And I think a lot of that, when in business, you got to have a lot of logic, obviously, a lot of self awareness, you know, but at the same time, you got to have a balance of faith. You got to have the faith in there as well, because if you're too heavy on analytics and numbers, uh, sometimes you can really restrict your growth. So, so when I saw that, I like, you know what, let me just trust the process. And I did, and we had a great time, and it was a great showing. I had a little video. I do like mini vlogs for Instagram. I'll post it on the screen, and I show them my process and the journey, and thanking the the universe and everything for the opportunity. But yeah, man, and that's the journey. We're still on it. The next thing is to create a bigger event, pushing my limits. Uh, I'm a little bit nervous on that. Those nerves are good. Those are really good because that means I'm getting out of my comfort level, and I want to see how far I can push this and continue to grow as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a person who's chasing his dreams. So Kurt, just one thing I want to ask you about, man, and it's all over the world. The world is affected. It is getting even crazier. Before, it was Venezuela. Then now is Iran, and it's gonna get even crazier after. But Iran was attacked. Well, U.S. went in and attacked Iran because of potential weapons of mass destruction being at the level of completion, and Israel, what I saw, warned us about this happening for almost 30 years now. Now that possibility came to light, and the U.S. did a move that really is impacting the entire world. And yo, this is insane. Like, what do you think about this, man?
First things first. I personally was hoping that we would never see war again in my lifetime. Something else that I specifically was hoping, and I still hope, I really do hope, is that we do not see war on U.S. soil. That's a big one for me. We've seen war on foreign lands. We've seen how it has impacted people's lives. Now more so than any time before, because of the accessibility of phones, cameras, and the internet, we can see what's actually going on in real time in a war across the sea. I remember, I think it was last year, when there was a video of troops parachuting down and shooting civilians. That was last year. That instinctively, in my brain, reminded me of a movie called, I think it's called Red Dawn.
Oh, I was just gonna tell you about that. Yeah.
Red Dawn. Now, here's the thing about me. Your scary movies, your survival movies, your all these movies, these are not entertainment for me. These are training videos. Because the human imagination is only so strong. Everything has a base. Everything that you've heard of has a base. They say that mermaids were drunk sailors saw manatees with their heads up with seaweed on their head and thought it was a mermaid. It's a big girl. However, you're drunk. There's a base there. There's a base there somewhere. I'm off topic.
Yeah,
back on topic.
Back on topic. Into something else.
When it comes to war in general, I don't think I know that it's a part of life. As human nature, humans are going to fight. We're going to fight for things that don't make sense. We're going to fight for things that we think make sense. We're going to fight for things that aren't worth even fighting for. Now, with this war, there's a whole lot of speculations on different topics, subjects. For example, there was a video that I saw where the guy said the reason why Trump bombed Iran is because Israel said they will use weapons of mass destruction on Iran, meaning they have nukes. And Trump apparently thinks that, okay, well, if we just hit them with regular missiles, we can dive, we can subside the conflict before it becomes nuclear.
Yeah.
In a way, it makes sense. He was trying to avoid catastrophic.
So it was inevitable. It was gonna happen. So he was trying to avoid.
Well, he was trying to avoid Israel from doing it to Iran.
Yeah.
By simply dropping regular bombs on Iran. Israel says they had weapons of mass destruction. They're going to use it on Iran. Trump said, well, they said, if you don't handle Iran, we will. Okay. Trump said, okay, we'll drop some bombs. Boom. You know, we know that Iran doesn't have high tech equipment. They have old equipment. They can't beat us in a straight on fight.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So I'm assuming this is the thought process is, okay, if we go ahead and neutralize the problem before it becomes nuclear, we can avoid a World War III. I'm not a fan of Trump. That's me being honest. I disagree with a lot of things that he said and or done. But if this information is correct, it's probably not the best way to go about it, but it is sure probably wasn't the worst way to go about it. Only thing is, I do disagree. We shouldn't. I feel like everything should be strategic. If you want somebody, get that person. Don't get everybody name off. You know what I mean? If you want to get a specific person, go for that specific person. Only deal with people, like if you have to eliminate people and it's mandatory that you have to get to this person, only the people that are fully against you getting to that person are in your way. Not them, not their kids, not their wife, not everybody that's around them, just them. This is a single line. There's no reason to spray like a birdshot shotgun bullet. I don't know where this world is going, and personally, if you're a U.S. citizen, be prepared. Be prepared for where it becomes.
Yeah,
get your firearm, get your water, get your food.
Doomsday prep.
Doomsday aid, bro.
Yeah, now they're not getting too crazy. Yeah,
get in shape.
Yeah, get ready.
Bro, if you can't run a mile, but if you can't run a press,
start doing those 1 minute miles. So I get what you're saying, and yeah, going back to focusing on the strategy of things and the whole Israel saying that we're going to attack before Iran has an opportunity, and you're stating that okay, maybe we should have been more strategic. Probably we should have been more like focused on the exact target instead of too much collateral.
Yeah.
But I think it was just the opportunity. It was too good to pass up because it was, I would say, maybe 90% of the leadership of that regime was in one specific location per intelligence that they had, and when it comes to warfare, that made the best sense to attack. But when it comes to like the average person like me and you looking from the outside. That's terrible, man. Like so many people lost their lives that were not even involved with that. It's just unfortunate, and that how grateful we gotta be to be in the U.S. to have this safety. I know the U.S. has its issues. I'm not saying the U.S. is perfect. We're far from it. However, exactly compared to the world, we're pretty well up there as to quality of life, and we have to have grace to appreciate that because some people don't have choices. They're born in a situation, born in an environment, or a regime that restricts certain freedoms. And I would say what Trump did is I have a lot of opinions on that. What Trump did is it's just a lot of thought process for me. Is a lot of maybe legacy. He's chasing legacy. Maybe he's chasing the fact that he wants the Trump name to be remembered. I think Trump wants to save the world. Hold on. You might be. This is just all these little things. Might be trying to save the world, like trying to get all the world leaders of Latin America to come together to solve their own problems, so they don't. So there's not so many refugees looking for asylum in the U.S. I get it that he's trying to solve the problems of their country, get them as prepared as possible to take care of their people. And the whole Maduro thing in Venezuela might have been an approach to that, but a lot of that also has to be boiled. you know, and that has to be more highlighted than anything. I would say it would be the oil production, and that the U.S., let's be honest, has been struggling with oil and crude oil. We've been really heavy on fracking. The gas is underground, and we in Pennsylvania, all these the states in the U.S., but it's been really affecting the citizens because there's methane in the water now. So this, you guys can look more into that. If it's been an issue for a couple of years now, but what I wanted to say is that getting back to your point.
Wait.
What?
Before you get too far, the hero thing. I want to touch base on it. Do you watch anime?
Yeah,
You do. Okay.
on occasion.
Okay. So for my anime fans out there, this is one we're gonna touch base on. The hero, like Yagami.
No, he lost me with Yagami.
Okay.
I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan, and that's it. I'm not an anime fan. I'm a Dragon Ball Z and One Piece. That's it.
If you know Light Yagami from Death Note, Death Note is an anime where he writes your name and envisions you.
Oh, Death Note.
And
Death
you'll die.
Note. Death Note. Yeah.
Okay.
They actually had a Netflix series on that.
Yeah. He wanted to make a better world.
Oh, I get what you're going with. Yeah.
A lot of supposed want to be heroes end up being supervillains.
Thanos.
Thanos.
Damn.
Why? Because he feels like sometimes we just need a reset. We need to be restructured. And to the masses, that's extinction. That's elimination. That is a reset of your life. Something that he should have no power over. So when you say he wants to be a hero, hero is just a word that most people don't use correctly. Most people that want to be heroes are really vigilantes. Others are villains because it's a perspective. Would Trump give up his life or his kid's life to save everybody? That's a hero. He pardoned his son from going to war. We know we're going to war.
So what I really want to talk about really is, so we just talked about the whole invasion of Iran, first with Venezuela, now Iran. Now there's something very controversial happening right now. This is the first of our generation that we are having a war with AI. So just to give you some context a little bit, Claude AI is one of the biggest platforms out there now to use for artificial intelligence, and there was a conversation between Claude AI and the government to use their platform, their infrastructure to feed into the war, to really power the war. And a lot have been said that AI was used for strategic purposes to attack Iran and maybe Venezuela. So there's a lot of controversy around that. It's getting really dangerous that now we're infiltrating. We got AI involved. We have drone strikes. We have attacks on data centers. This is the first 21st century war, and at its high capacity, and it's getting really scary. And people are very afraid right now. Like, but Claude AI refused. They went publicly in an interview stating that they were not cool with the being used. They're also known as entropic, but they were not cool about being used for war. But OpenAI, the one who opened the floodgates to AI, swooped right in, got into that contract, and because obviously it's known out there that OpenAI has been struggling. They let their foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
Google is ahead of them with Gemini and Nano Banana, and Sea Dance, all that stuff. And so I guess it's just more of a take away the ethics or the morals of it, and just it's all about business. And what I've heard, I don't know, I can't really statistically tell you, but what I've heard that employees of OpenAI have been leaving the company. But with that being said, Kurt, and I just gave you a lot of information.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that, man? It's insane. Are we in cyber then? Is this Terminator? What are we doing? We're getting close to that?
we are definitely going towards Terminator. I 100% believe that we're going towards Terminator. The last few years, we've seen pilotless aircrafts. We've seen man-made robots, like robots that are humanoid-like. You know, you've had humanoid robots that they talk about using for war. Dog-like robots that they talk about using for war. These are
Yeah,
10 years ago.
yeah, I think I saw it in China. They have
Yeah,
they use it in China.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's at the point where we are very close to not having to send so many humans to war, and a lot of them can be controlled from miles away. So even if you have the know-how how to fly a jet, you can do it from a controller in a cubicle in California or Michigan while you're over Afghanistan or over Taiwan or over Iran. You know, so our technology has advanced a lot. I'm not sure if as advanced as China. China has got us beat in a lot of ways, and a lot of people don't want to admit it. But all this stuff costs money, and this is one of the things I don't understand. As far as the money has, if we print the money, how is it that we're in debt? War costs money. We're printing the money. It's not tied to gold. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, as far as AI and um, um, open AI accepting the contract, you gotta remember that in America we have different dreams.
Okay, but let's get back around to the AI. So what is AI? Like, how does this affect the world? Like now that it's being used for this
Well,
power.
in a few ways. One, we as humans become too dependent on electronics altogether. So when it comes to AI coming into the force, how much power are we going to give AI before we're like, you know what, you got it? And how can that in turn turn around as which will turn into Terminator?
That box is open. What would they call it? Pandora's box
Pandora's
is open.
box is wide
It's
open, 100%.
I don't think it can be closed again. So it's
No, Pandora's box is literally a box of information. Well, the more information you consume, the deeper you fall into this box. That's why I believe that people that are dumb have the best lives.